Let's bring in our Dr. David Agus. Good morning, Dr. Agus. How are you doing?
Good morning, Nate. I'm all right.
I wish we had you here under better circumstances, but your knowledge is needed in moments like this. The Buffalo Bills confirmed in a statement that Damar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest. His heartbeat was restored on the field, and he's currently in critical condition. What does all of this mean to you?
Well, you saw that tackle. In that tackle, the opponent's helmet was in his chest, so he had blunt force trauma to the chest. And in the exact right spot, at the exact right moment during his heartbeat, it caused his heart to have what we call an arrhythmia, not beat effectively to push blood to the brain. So he stood up, not enough blood went to the brain, he fell down, and that heart was in ventricular fibrillation. What we know with this committed cordis, which is this condition, is that every minute you delay shocking them, resuscitating them, what happens is there's an increase of 10% in mortality. They started CPR right away, which is great. My hope is they were able to restore the heart rate soon enough to be able to get blood flow to the brain so there's no damage there.
So the question, Dr. Agus, is how common are hits like this that have the potential to stop an individual's heart? And how much time, you talked about oxygen to his brain, they got his heart beating on the field, but he's still breathing on a ventilator. He's not breathing on his own. So what does that tell you?
So there are about 30 of these cases a year that happen in the United States. They predominantly happen in kids. That happens during Little League Baseball. A ball is thrown by a pitcher and hits the person in the chest. It happens in soccer, where there's something that causes that blunt force trauma. So remarkably rare. The fact that he's not breathing on his own certainly makes me worried, because the sooner you are able to shock him back into a normal rhythm, the sooner you can go back to everything working. And that fact that he's not breathing on his own may tell me there's some brain damage. And I'm over-interpreting here. I think that's clear, but we're going to know a lot over the next 12 to 24 hours as they start to turn down the machine that's breathing for him, the ventilator, to see if he can breathe on his own. And our hopes and prayers are that he can.
Dr. Agus, if it was the condition that you mentioned it's extremely rare, but should there be more scrutiny on player safety? There's a lot of focus on brain injuries, but should there be more focus on the impact of these tackles on other parts of the body?
Listen, I think in all sport, we have to re-look at safety. When a child heads a soccer ball once, you see MRI changes of inflammation in the brain in these kids. In football, we're seeing lots of injuries. You know, the artificial turf is changing. They're getting more athletic. The game is changing. And when we do that, we start to have to look, can we protect the athletes better? These athletes, as we saw last night, put their lives on the line for our entertainment. And it's the obligation, I think, of all of us to make sure they're protected as much as they can be.
All right, and players from around the league are offering their prayers and well wishes. This is a tweet from Jamar Chase saying, "I want to send a prayer to Damar and his family." Also, a tweet from Patrick Mahomes that he sent out as well. He's saying, "Praying hard. Please be okay, man."